G'day Basefitters, welcome to today's Basefit University. It's Grant here from Basefit West Rand, strength and conditioning coach. Today we're going to talk about different body types. So basically there are three different body types. There is an endomorph, an ectomorph and a mesomorph. Okay, these body types have different characteristics to each other. They look different in appearance and they also react different to the food we put in them, the type of training we do, and many other factors. So knowing your body type can actually be, if you are struggling with something, it might be the thing that's actually holding you back. So if you can identify out of the three different body types which one you are most likely to be, you probably will end up being able to get a much better idea of how to train and how to eat for that particular body type. Now, it's not true that you could be only just one of the three. You might be a combination of one or two of them. You might be an endo-meso, so you're kind of sitting in between the two. So I'm not going to give you any ratios or anything like that today in order to try and work it out. There's a ton of information online on how you should eat and how you can identify all different types of different bodies. And so I'm just going to go through the main three today. And I'm going to switch over to a screen and I'll show you what the body types look like, and I'll go through a few little characteristics of each body type, and then we'll take it from there. Okay everybody, so here are our three different body types. We've got the ectomorph, we've got the mesomorph, and we have the endomorph. Let's have a look at the ectomorph first. Alright, so the ectomorph. This body type you will generally find in people that are very thin. Okay, so they'll be tall and thin. They'll have narrow shoulders and hips in respect to their height. They are generally flat chested, in other words, they don't have a big bulky chest, with longer, thinner muscle on the limbs. So you'll have long, thin biceps and long quads, and they're much thinner than you would on more average sort of guys. Okay, and girls. All right. They also find it incredibly hard to gain weight, and this is due to very fast metabolism, and they call this particular body type a hard gainer. All right. This particular body type will gravitate towards endurance sports, for example, triathlons. Nice and slipstream, and your body will be nice and efficient. Not carrying a lot of weight, generally ideal for endurance sports. Okay, so when it comes to the diet, ectos need a huge amount of calories in order to gain weight. So they should consume a high protein diet with balanced carbs and lots of fats that maintain a positive energy balance. Otherwise, their bodies are just gonna eat themselves up. So it's even recommended that eating before bedtime can actually prevent the body from breaking itself down while you're sleeping. That's how fast these guys' metabolisms really are. So how would you train if you're an ectomorph? Well, you really should lift fairly heavy, fairly often, and have some control over your aerobic activities. You don't want to do too much of that because obviously it's going to burn all your muscle up if your body goes catabolic. So adding resistance training can help you build muscle. It's recommended that workouts be short and intense, both the aerobic and anaerobic type of exercises, which will build strength and muscle. One thing is ectomorphs can lose fat very easily, which actually helps them look really toned and lean. Okay. Okay, the Mesomorph. I'm pretty sure a lot of them, the gents are familiar with this. It's almost like the Arnold Schwarzenegger type of physique. Also the beautiful model, swimsuit model bikini figure. Okay. So they have a very athletic build, which is characterized by their bone structure where their shoulders are actually wider than their hips. Okay. They are well defined and with well-rounded muscles and appearance. Okay, so they are physically strong, and quick bursts of energy for these people are very easy for them to perform because they have the muscle to back it up. They gain muscle very easily. They are very efficient. They have a very efficient metabolism, which makes muscle gain and fat loss happen with relative ease. They gain fat. One downside of it is that they gain fat very easily as opposed to the ectomorph. So they need to be very sensitive to actually what they consume, because it can creep up and the next thing they know they're sitting with a few % body fat up that they didn't even know about until it was too late. So in terms of diet wise, they need to eat specifically for their desired goal or activity, their sport, by increasing or decreasing their daily calories to control their body composition requirements. So they need to really be sensitive to what they're eating in order to maintain this physique. So mesomorphs gain fat fairly easily, therefore they must watch their calorie intake. Okay, so how to train if you're a mesomorph? Well, mesomorphs benefit mostly from a combination of weight training and cardio. So one thing that can happen with these guys is they can hit plateaus because they just always seem like they're looking good and feeling good, and they hit a plateau. So if you don't change your workout routine regularly enough, you could negate your gains or your maintaining phase that you're actually sitting with in order to keep that muscle and that toning, by just all of a sudden the training not being enough. You think it's enough, but it's not, and all of a sudden these guys are prone to a little bit more fat loss, a little bit more fat gain. So that could creep in on them. Alright, so let's have a look at the last one, the endomorph. Alright, so this is the body type that I suppose a lot of people hate, and a lot of people struggle with this because they have a roundish physique. Okay, they generally got a short, stocky little build. They seem to have much sort of stronger bones than everybody else. They're little bullfighters. They have a larger midsection and a larger hip section, or it could be the same as their shoulders, but it could be even larger. All right, so gaining muscle for these guys and gaining fat is relatively easy. So the reason for this is they have a really slow metabolism, which makes it difficult for these guys to lose weight, but they do gain muscle very easily underneath all that extra stored fat. The muscles are very strong, especially the legs. These guys are really, really strong. You'll always see power lifters and those guys, they're generally this type of build. Okay. And the muscles are not well defined, obviously, because they've got a little bit too much body fat. All right, so a diet for an endomorph, they should consume a high protein diet, balanced carbs and fats that maintain a slight negative energy balance, so a calorie deficit. All right, so firstly, you need to make sure that your diet is absolutely on point. So then in terms of how to train for this, well, using moderate weights and maintaining a sufficient cardio program for maximum calorie expenditure is incredibly important to these guys. You can maximize your calorie burn by doing some high intense metabolic training. That will obviously stimulate extra fat burning that continues afterwards, after your workout for quite some time. Yeah, that's called the afterburn effect. All right, guys. I hope that was informative. I hope you guys learned something. I hope it actually helps somebody out there that watches this. It's really a real thing. So if you can just figure it out, watch the video again if you need to, or just go online and just search somatypes, or if you think you're a ectomorph, search ectomorph, mesomorph, or an endomorph. Search them. There's a ton of information about each one of these. There's also, like I said, there's different ratios that'll give you a guideline of how much protein, how much fat, and how much carbohydrates to include in your diet, and obviously to work out on your sport or your training or whatever, how much you actually need. All right, guys. So until next time, have a good day. Cheers. Bye.